Good morning, 7th. This is Monday, and this is social studies. You may want to grab a snack or drink or lunch or whatever, because this is going to run as a normal lesson. But of course, you'll be able to have a snack, and I won't even know, so that'll work out perfectly. So we will begin by correcting the assignment, Jefferson's first inaugural address. You will recall that assignment was given on Google Classroom and should have been posted, all 13 questions, as a full detailed sentence minimum. What I like to do right now is number one, you should have your questions from the textbook corrected. So you've watched the previous lesson, you've made the detailed corrections, and you'll post that. So that should be posted, your corrections. Two, you should have posted the Jefferson inaugural address packet, one full sentence for each of those. Those should be there. If they're not there for some reason, please double check that before beginning this lesson. Please double check that before beginning this lesson. Right now, this is going to be handwritten with a pen. Correct it. If for some reason you type this, I said I'm fine with it. I'm totally okay with it. Type in red. Change the font to red. Just so you can correct it in red. I'll double check it, repost it with the corrections. If you need to unsubmit for some reason on the other post to make the corrections, don't worry about it. As long as I saw that it was posted, you're okay. So let's begin. I did suggest to many of you leave a space between the questions if it's handwritten, so we can add more details. Otherwise, just continue it. The bottom, side, add details, add a lot. Let's go through this document. What I'm going to do is share the screen. Let's look together. So you should have your worksheet. So I have my worksheet right here. Okay, you should have this worksheet side by side with your questions. What I would really like you to do right now is be on the same page with me. Let's look together. So number one, what is the first executive office? Take a look at the first sentence, okay? Take a look at the first sentence that we have. Called upon to undertake the duties of the first executive office of our country. The first executive office is the presidency. It is the presidency, the commander-in-chief in the United States. Remember, this is given March 4th of 1801. Presidents were sworn in at that time in March, not in January. Number two, how does Jefferson feel about his new job? I'd like you to look right here, okay? And you could feel free to highlight or underline these too. This is for deeper understanding of one of the most famous inaugural addresses in history, his first inaugural address. I approach it, right, the presidency, with those anxious and awful presentiments, which the greatness of the charge and the weakness of my powers so justly inspire. Jefferson has been around by this time, by this point, for a while. You are aware of his accomplishments, previous accomplishments. He knows that this is a large task ahead. So for number two, you're going to want to make it clear that he knows that this is a large task in front of him, but he's anxious about taking this. He's anxious about taking charge. Jefferson is not one that's going to say that he's perfect. You may want to add this down. But what he wants to do is stand for the best interests of this country, because as he points out, this is a rising nation, and he wants to guide this rising nation in the right direction. The last thing that he wants is any type of conflict to be stirred up here. Three, where will Jefferson find information on how to do his job? So without question here, we know Jefferson's connection to the Declaration, author of the Declaration of Independence. We also know his role with the Founding Fathers. So where is he going to find the information how to do his job? Let's take a look, and you could even highlight this line here. This is number 3. Utterly indeed, should I despair, did not the presence of many whom I see here remind me that in the other high authorities provided by our Constitution, I will find the resources of wisdom, of virtue, and of zeal on which to rely under all difficulties. Please jot down for number 3. He's going to find information in the Constitution. He's going to find resources of wisdom, of virtue, and of zeal. This all could assist at any point, especially during difficult moments. 4, why does he look to the legislators for support? Well, let's take a look here. Again, highlight or underline this one. I look with encouragement for that guidance and support which may enable us to steer with safety the vessel in which we all embarked amidst the conflicting elements of a troubled world. Well, the vessel is this nation. We are all embarked on it. We're all embarked on a journey. He's going to look for the legislators for support. So why does he look for support? Jefferson looks for their support because he wants guidance. He wants encouragement to steer this nation in the right direction. He knows there will be troubled roads ahead, but he knows these legislators can support guiding this nation, which he refers to as a vessel, in the right direction. Who will always prevail? Well, number 5. Let's take a look right here where he mentions this a little longer. You can highlight, underline again. All too will bear in mind the sacred principle that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable. All too will bear in mind the sacred principle that though the will of the majority in all cases will prevail, the will of the majority will always prevail. Remember, Jefferson is looking to reduce that influence of the federal government. He does not want there to be any type of notion that may look as if we have a monarch in charge, or he does not want to show any of that, that federal authority comes before anything. Of course, the federal government, he knows the power that it should have, but he doesn't want it to abuse its power. He believes in more power to the people, more power to the common person. That's why he's mentioning this line in his first speech as the nation's leader number 3. Number 6, what did Jefferson do to have people who didn't vote for him so they will like him? Well, just like every president who gets elected, you're not going to have every single person in the nation support you. You're not going to get every single vote. Not then and not now. Take a look at the line, highlight and underline. Unite with one heart and one mind. So bringing the nation together, one heart, one mind. Remember, just like Washington, not saying we're Federalists, we're Republicans, we're Democrats. No, but instead we are one. Let us restore to social intercourse that harmony and affection without which liberty and even life itself are but dreary things. What he wants to do here. So what is Jefferson going to do? Jefferson is going to do his best to restore to social intercourse harmony and affection. Okay? He wants to bring people together. He wants people to focus on harmony. He wants people to focus on liberty. He wants individuals to focus on the nation's success. He's not saying anywhere along these lines that he's going to force them to think a certain way. No, he doesn't say that at all. But instead, his goal is to bring people united more together than ever before. 7, what is Jefferson referring to about social harmony? You could look at the same line here. Jefferson is referring to individuals working together as a united nation. Jefferson knows that it's not going to be perfect, but he wants individuals to focus on the goals of the nation, not their own particular goals, not their own party goals. You may want to highlight this for number 8. Not all of this, just the lines, just the speech. We have called by different names, brethren of the same principle. We are all Republicans, we are all Federalists. Number 8. How is we are all Republicans, we are all Federalists, similar to Patrick Henry's I am not a Virginian, but an American? This is similar, and you hopefully remember Patrick Henry. This is similar because both Henry and Jefferson say we shouldn't look at a particular state or a particular party. Instead, we should look at being the United States of America. We should look out for the good of the country, not just for the good of the party, not just for the good of a state, but for the good of our nation, to be united citizens. Please remember, it is 1804 right now. In 1804, it would have been difficult to do a lesson like this online, right? But it would have also been difficult to go ahead and assure individuals that the nation would be staying away from having a monarch. So for question number 9, why are some citizens scared of the government? You're going to want to highlight what I just have right there. Some honest men fear that a Republican government cannot be strong, that this government is not strong enough. But would the honest patriot, in the full tide of successful experiment, abandon a government which has so far kept us free and firm on the theoretic and visionary fear that this government, the world's best hope, may be possibility, want energy to preserve itself? May, by possibility, want energy to preserve itself. Some citizens are scared because they believe that this democracy is not going to be strong enough. This Republican government is not going to be strong enough. They feel that the government could potentially not stand up against other governments. Basically, he's also making it clear, why should we abandon this? It's kept us free. It's worked for some time, not as much as it has right now in 2020, but it has worked for some time. But individuals feel that this government, they've never had a Republican president before. Okay, they had 2 Federalist presidents, but they weren't sure if this party, this government, is going to lead us in the right direction. You look at Jefferson now, and you already know a lot about him. But back then, remember, they did not know everything that we know now. So the best way, in my view, to evaluate a presidency is at the end. But remember, right now, in 1801, it's right at the start. He hasn't even really sat down in the Oval Office yet to begin work. What makes the United States great? Number 10. Well, there's a lot, but let's take a look at what he says. A highlight or underline to the left here. Kindly separated by nature and a wide ocean from the exterminating havoc of 1/4 of the globe, too high-minded to endure the degradations of the others, possessing a chosen country with room enough for our descendants to the thousandth and thousandth generation, entertaining a due sense of our equal rights to the use of our own faculties, to the acquisitions of our own industry, to honor and confidence from our fellow citizens, resulting not from birth, but from our action and their sense of them. You can even continue. What makes the United States great here? And you might look at this and say, wow, some of it's a little difficult to read. This is a little too advanced. Well, it is difficult to read. It was written that way, but we're breaking it down at this level. And if you struggle a little bit, That's understandable. I understand that. That's why we have questions on the right, and I didn't just say take notes, because that would have been really hard. The United States, and under Jefferson here, Jefferson feels the United States is great, especially under his leadership, because he's going to promote the equal rights, acquisitions of our own industry, restore honor and confidence in the citizens. Basically, he wants the United States to focus on the good of the common person. He wants the United States to start to give the common person that greater advantage. So he knows the United States can provide that hope, provide that honesty, provide the true temperance and gratitude right here. Honesty, true temperance and gratitude, and the love of man. Of course, he does mention religion, focusing on faith. That makes the United States great in the eyes of Thomas Jefferson. What does Jefferson predict the government will be? Let's take a look at the end here. Highlight or underline. You might say, Mr. A, I never printed this. If you have the opportunity to print it, I would suggest to do so. If not, have this open digitally, okay? Have it open digitally. Have it side by side. You can always jot down some of these quotes too. Let's take a look. Still, one thing more, fellow citizens, a wise and frugal government, which shall restrain men from injuring one another, shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. This is the sum of a good government, and this is necessary to close the circle of our facilities. So, this is what he believes. He predicts the government, or he wants that government to be wise and frugal. He wants the government to restrain men from injuring one another. He wants to avoid any type of civil war, any type of break between a nation, because that would not be that would not lead the United States in the right direction, because it wouldn't be united. Shall leave them otherwise free to regulate their own pursuits of industry and improvement, and shall not take from the mouth of labor the bread it has earned. These individuals, under Jefferson's leadership here, the citizens, Jefferson is trying to stand for more rights, more rights to this common person. He's not going to promote a government that can take away from what individuals have earned, but instead he wants there to be a government to keep order, to keep discipline, but not to take what individuals have already earned. 12. Which principles does Jefferson want to stand for, do you think is most important, and why? Well, there's a lot we could say here. What I like to do is take a look at this line here. It's a little large, so you can highlight or underline. The vital principle of republics, from which is no appeal but to force, the vital principle and immediate parent of despotism, a well-disciplined militia, our best reliance in peace, and for the first moments of war, till regulars may relieve them. Well, he does want to stand for the vital principle of republics. He wants to stand for the vital principle of republics, from which is no appeal but to force, the vital principle and immediate parent of despotism, a well-disciplined militia. Well-disciplined force, because if war were to break out, and first of all, we want to rely on peace, but if war were to break out, we need to have authority. We need to be ready. We need to be ready. At the same time, he does mention the supremacy of civil over the military authority. He doesn't want to have military authority first and at all times have this fear of military authority, but he wants supremacy of the civil over the military authority. So the civilized society, civilized individuals in the United States. And the last one, 13, what does Jefferson warn the citizens? So what does he warn them? There's a few different areas that you could take a look into. With experience enough in subordinate offices to have seen the difficulties of this, the greatest of all, I have learned to expect that it will rarely fall to the lot of imperfect man to retire from this station with the reputation and the favor which bring him into it. I like that. And then let's take a look at this one. I ask so much confidence only as may give firmness and effect to legal administrations of your affairs. And right here, I ask your indulgence for my own error, which will never be intentional, and your support against the errors of others who may condemn what they would not if seen in all its parts. Jefferson knows he's not perfect. Jefferson knows that nobody is perfect. He knows that he's going to make errors, but he says here, which will never be intentional. He's never going to do it on purpose. Okay? He knows that he needs the support of individuals to carry on. You know, if an error is made by him or by another individual in his administration, it's not with intention. He needs the support of the individual citizens. He cannot have these citizens break from him, from the United States. He needs them to realize there's going to be difficulties. The office has already seen difficulties. There will be more, but we shall not fail. Instead, we shall work together. Number one on the top, any questions, let me know. Please post the image of your corrections. Please post the image of your corrections. So what I like to do now, okay, is put this away. Let me know if you have any questions. So for last minutes here, I have attached a note sheet, and you could use the note sheet or you could do this right in your notebook. But if you do it in your notebook, do it on the same note sheet that we left off on from the other day. Let's set this up the same way as we do in class. Excuse me, if you're using a regular note, just the regular lined paper, or loose leaf, use a straight edge, draw a line on the side, and you can always write this on the left. So do you have to copy word for word? No, but I do need you to have a deep understanding. So what is Marbury v. Madison on the left? This is one of the most important cases in history of the United States. It's from 1803. Not just one of the most important, it is the most important to many individuals. They will say this is. Well, why? Let's review a little bit. William Marbury, which you're writing down, pause at any time. William Marbury was one of the midnight judges appointed by Adams, but never received commission. So William Marbury was one of the midnight judges who was appointed by Adams, but never received commission. So he's appointed, but commission is never received. Jefferson instructed Madison not to deliver commission. So Jefferson is telling Madison not to make this official. Marbury ends up appealing to the Supreme Court to force the president to deliver the commission as the Judicial Act of 1789 instructed, so power to the Supreme Court. So what has happened here is William Marbury is saying, you know, this should be delivered. He should be able to be this justice to the judge in the Supreme Court. John Marshall, okay, John Marshall, Supreme Court Chief Justice, he sympathized with Marbury, but said that the law, the Judiciary Act of 1789, was unconstitutional since it added power to the Supreme Court. Since the law was unconstitutional, the Supreme Court, judicial branch, could not force the president, executive branch, to take the commission. Supreme Court could not force Thomas Jefferson to commission William Marbury to be a judge. If you recall, Adams did this towards the end of his term. When he was about to leave, the Supreme Court is now saying that they cannot force Jefferson to do so. This means it is the first time that the court has declared a law unconstitutional. The first time, not the only time, not the last time. But this gives the Supreme Court the power of judicial review. Though the decision limited the power of the Supreme Court in this case, it establishes the power of judicial review. It expands the power of the courts to check the actions of the executive and legislative branches. You need to star this or highlight this, whatever you need to do, but it greatly expanded the power of the courts to check the actions of the executive and legislative branches. John Marshall makes this statement. Okay, it is empathetically the province and duty of the judicial department to say what the law is. John Marshall here is faced the situation that no Supreme Court Chief Justice had faced yet. The nation hadn't faced anything like this. The judicial department, it is the duty to say what the law is. And right here, the first time the court is declaring a law is unconstitutional. If you need to rewatch or jot down anything else, please do so before moving on to the next point. Marbury v. Madison, power of judicial review, most important case in U.S. history, 1803. Louisiana Purchase. Take a look at this image for a moment, okay? We're talking about this piece here. This is the Louisiana Purchase, okay? This is Louisiana Purchase, 1803. You can see the other states and territories here on the right. But if you take a look what happens to the size of the nation, it's incredible. You do need to know this. 1800, okay? 1800, before Jefferson is present, still under Adams. Spain transfers Louisiana to France by a secret treaty. So Spain ends up transferring Louisiana, that image I just showed you, that territory, to France through a treaty, but it's a secret treaty. This includes the land between the Mississippi River and the Rocky Mountains. So land between the Mississippi River and Rocky Mountains, Spain transfers Louisiana to France by this secret treaty. The Port of New Orleans, you might remember this from the reading, the Port of New Orleans right here is vital. It's extremely, extremely important to American commerce. Trade, commercial, a lot of money involved here. The Spanish had closed the port in the past, and the U.S. wanted to be sure that it didn't happen again. So as you're writing this down, make sure on the left-hand side it says, what is the Louisiana Purchase? The Spanish had closed the port before, and it had been open from time and time again, but the U.S. knew that they could do so again. The U.S. doesn't want it to happen. This is too important to their economy. It is too important to trade. So what is the U.S. going to do? Well, Jefferson, when he becomes president, is going to send James Monroe to help Robert Livingston negotiate the sale of the port and West Florida. So Jefferson sending James Monroe oversee this here and take a look. Remember, France, okay, is in control right now. Napoleon, whom you recall from a little earlier and from the other unit here, he needs money and offers to sell that whole piece that I showed you. Napoleon needs money and offers to sell the whole Louisiana territory for $15 million. Think about that for a moment. That whole territory right here, this whole territory, okay, for $15 million. 15 million may seem like a lot, but that's less than 3 cents per acre. That's less than 3 cents per acre. So think about the territory you're on right now, your house, where you are, wherever you may be. I know that the plot of land that I'm on right now is less than an acre. That certainly doesn't sell for 3 cents right now, and certainly will never sell for anything close to that. So $15 million for all that is incredible. This doubles the size of the United States with the stroke of a pen. So the Senate approves this in 1803. This is crucial to highlight or underline. It doubles the size of the United States. One stroke of the pen, this agreement, the United States size is now doubled. Louisiana Purchase is this expansion of territory in the United States. But here's what we need to do now. Do we know all this territory? Are we familiar with it? Absolutely not. But who's there that could? Think about that for a moment. Who's there that could? Well, Jefferson, the United States, is going to need to explore. Jefferson is going to rely on Meriwether Lewis. He's going to rely on Meriwether Lewis to lead this expedition. So on the left-hand side, what is the Lewis and Clark expedition? What is the Lewis and Clark expedition? Just so, let me minimize this for a moment so you could see this first point. The United States will now extend from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. The U.S. is going to extend from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. The U.S. now extends from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. But Jefferson wants this new territory explored. He wants to explore this new territory. So we need to learn more about it. So what is he going to do? He's going to select, and you may want to highlight this name. He's going to select his private secretary and former Army captain, Meriwether Lewis. Meriwether Lewis is going to lead this expedition. Lewis, okay, is the one who chooses Clark, William Clark, to help lead the expedition. So Lewis selects Lieutenant William Clark to help lead this expedition. You may want to box this, star this, whatever you need to do. What is the purpose of the expedition should go on the left. What is the purpose of the expedition? Again, pause at any time you may need to double check. Number 1, explore the Mississippi River. To find a northwest passage, a passage travel, again, can be crucial to commerce. So number 1, explore the Mississippi River. 2, form good relations with American Indians. Form good relations with American Indians. That's crucial here because natives were not always, as we know, treated with kindness, with respect. Instead of going in and we're going to destroy their territory, we're going to kick them out, we're going to take over, that's not what they're trying to do. Want to form good relations with American Indians because these natives could be used as a great resource. The U.S. doesn't know this territory well right now. Lewis and Clark don't know the territory right now. Certainly Thomas Jefferson doesn't, but the natives were there before. So from 1804 to 1806, these natives, we're going to get to a little bit more detail, but what's happening here is these Native Americans are going to be looked at as a great resource. So we don't want to, have bad relations with the natives. We want to form relations with them. We want to have them as a great resource for our country and to learn more about the area. 3, this is crucial. This is how we know so much about Lewis and Clark. They're told to keep a detailed journal of climate, natural resources, and animals of the area. Why? Climate, natural resources, and animals will allow us to understand the area better. Will allow us to understand more about what the area provides us and how this area could have more settlers in the future. Would it be able to? What do we know about it? What can the Native Americans tell us about it? And what may be there that is new, that we've never experienced before? Because we don't know what type of animals are there. We don't know the climate. We don't know the natural resources. So Lewis and Clark are going to show us this. They're going to explore the Mississippi River, form good relations with American Indians, and keep a detailed journal about their expedition. This is crucial to understanding where we go from here as a nation. So make sure you have written that down for right now. At the same time, what I'd like you to do is also take a moment. We're gonna have one more before we conclude here. Is what was the corpse of discovery on the left-hand side, please? What was the corpse of discovery? Lewis and Clark met at the falls of the Ohio in Clarksville, and they recruited 33 men to join what they called the Corpse of Discovery, or what will be later referred to as the Corpse of Discovery. So they head west onto the Ohio River. So these 33 men, they're the Corpse of Discovery, a group, so to say. The final jump-off point into the uncharted West was at Camp Du Bois outside of St. Louis. This is the final jump-off point into the uncharted West. Uncharted West, again, westward expansion. We're expanding west. What is going to be there? We're soon to find out. So the natives are going to play a crucial role. They're going to guide them. They're going to show them the territory. Sacagawea and her brother are going to play a crucial role. They're going to guide this Corpse of Discovery across the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains. Why? Because they know the territory better than any of these explorers. Because for the explorers, this is new. For Sacagawea, her brother, other natives there, this is not. This is land that has been occupied by them for many years. They've seen the pros, they've seen the cons of the resources of this territory. Nez Perce Indians are going to play a crucial role, because after crossing the Rocky Mountains, they followed Columbia River to the Pacific with the help of the Nez Perce Indians. Nez Perce Indians are going to help them with their travel. Remained in the Northwest for the winter. So they're going to remain in the Northwest for the winter. They're going to explore the coast. We talked about coastal trading. We've talked about the importance of the coast. They're going to remain in the Northwest for the winter to explore that coast. During this time, they're going to learn a lot about Western land, the people, and the resources. Who's already there? Who's occupied it? How have they been living? How is the land? What resources are on the land? What do we see as positive? What do we see as negative? And this is followed by Pike's exploration of the Southwest. We're going to get to that next time, Pike's exploration of the Southwest. But as we can see, of course, we'll go into greater detail, but the natives here, Sacagawea, her brother, other natives, Nez Perce Indians, are going to be used as a great resource for what this land provides. So what do we need posted for today? Number one, the Jefferson inauguration corrections. Number one on the top right details. You need notes here. So the notes should have the following. On the left-hand side, you should have this question. What is Marbury v. Madison? Notes don't have to be word for word, but you should have notes based on this video. 2, Louisiana Purchase. What is the Louisiana Purchase on the left? So right now you have 2 questions on the left. Jot down notes on Louisiana Purchase. 3, what is the Lewis and Clark expedition? So that's your 3rd question. Double check you have that. On the right-hand side, please have this information. It doesn't have to be word for word. You can add info that I said out loud as well. 4, what is the Corpse of Discovery? Have the notes on the right-hand side. We're going to continue tomorrow. What we're going to do tomorrow is I'm going to post a couple videos with some questions, and that will be a quiz grade reflection. What I'd like you to do for right now is keep these notes organized. This is essential, and we're going to just have to keep rolling with this. I hope you understand what I just explained. If you have any questions, let me know. Please watch the video closely. Keep working in pencil. Keep working in detail. Let me know if you have any questions. Most importantly, keep working. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your day.